Hey everybody, my name is Carolyn. I'm a certified aromatherapist and the owner of Folks Natural Living, a skincare and wellness business focused all around aromatherapy. So today we're going to be talking about Rosemary Essential Oil, and I'm going to be talking about 3 different chemotypes. But first, let's go ahead and discuss what a chemotype is. Chemotypes arise in essential oils when you get a plant that has the same genus and species and is the same in every other way other than its chemical makeup. The chemistry can be different in plants due to many factors. For example, the country of origin or even the time the plant was harvested. So I'm going to be talking about in this video rosemary chemotype camphor, rosemary chemotype verbenone, and rosemary chemotype 1,8 cineole. I just wanted to make a note on buying essential oils and buying rosemary in particular. So if you are buying from a supplier where it only says rosemary, then you might want to try and figure out what the chemotype is so that way you can know how to use it best. So you can either email them or look at the GCMS report if it is available. And if you don't know what a GCMS report is, I will link a video in the top corner where I talk about where you can buy quality essential oils and what a GCMS is. So all of the rosemary essential oils that I'm talking about are steam distills from the twigs and leaves of the plant. So all of these chemotypes of rosemary have the same Latin name, which is Rosmarinus officinalis. But then at the end of that, it has CT and then the chemical component that is strongest in that essential oil. So for rosemary chemotype camphor, it would be Rosmarinus officinalis chemotype CT camphor. All of the rosemary essential oils have a very herbaceous aroma to them, but they do have different aromas based on their chemical components. The 1,8 cineole chemotype, I would say, is probably the strongest, the most fresh, and most penetrating of the oils. The camphor type is also strong, fresh, and woodsy, but it's definitely not as penetrating as the 1,8 cineole. Then we have the verbenone chemotype, and that is the softest of the 3. And it has a really fresh, herbaceous notes to it, but it's definitely not penetrating. So now we're going to talk about the common therapeutic uses of these oils. And they do have a lot of similarities, but because of their different chemical makeup, they're good for different things. The chemotype 1,8 cineole is great for respiratory infections. And 1,8 cineole is actually the main component in eucalyptus oil, which is also really good for any sort of respiratory condition. Like I said before, its aroma is very penetrating, strong, and fresh. So it's going to be great for focusing the mind. It's going to be really uplifting as well as stimulating. The camphor chemotype is really good for circulation. It's very stimulating. So it would be great in a massage oil for arthritis or sore muscles. It also has a high percentage of 1,8 cineole, so it has some of the properties of the 1,8 cineole chemotype as well. The verbenone chemotype has a smaller percentage of camphor. It's not going to be as stimulating and it's much gentler in its action, so that makes it great for skin and hair care. It's especially good at promoting hair growth as well as wound healing. So I use all 3 of these rosemary chemotypes for different reasons. For example, I used my 1,8 cineole chemotype in my Focus inhaler because of its penetrating and fresh and vibrant aroma. I use the camphor chemotype in massage oils as well in my Healthy Hair Serum to increase circulation to the scalp. And then the verbenone chemotype I also use in my Healthy Hair Serum to not only nourish the scalp but help promote hair growth. Now I'm going to go into the safety of these essential oils, and they do have slightly different safety profiles because of their different chemical constituents. As with most essential oils, if you have an essential oil that has been oxidized, it is going to cause irritation or sensitization to the skin. You're going to want to make sure that you keep your essential oils in a cool and dark environment so that the oxidation is slower. These essential oils have about a 4-year shelf life if kept under good conditions. If you have epilepsy, you're going to want to avoid rosemary chemotype camphor in any percent higher than 16. but 16% is a really high dilution, and it's not commonly used in aromatherapy practices. Also, if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, you may want to avoid rosemary chemotype camphor because of the camphor content. However, Robert Tisserand has stated in his Safety on Essential Oils book that the camphor percentage in rosemary chemotype camphor is not high enough to be contraindicated, so it's really just a personal choice. As an extra precaution, you can also not use any sort of rosemary essential oil in kids under 5 years old. And for kids who are 5 to 10 years old, make sure you use a low dilution and caution when you're using these essential oils. The 1,8 cineole chemotype is great for respiratory infections, which means that it is stimulating to the respiratory system. So you're going to want to be careful with anyone who has asthma, because since it is a stimulating oil to specifically the respiratory system, you're going to want to make sure that that doesn't cause an asthma attack, because some people can be sensitive to that. And this is not to say that you can't use rosemary chemotype 1,8 cineole with people who have asthma. It could possibly help their asthma, but every person is different and their body reacts differently to these essential oils, so it's great first to be cautious. Alright guys, that was a lot of information. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask them down below in the comments section, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it and want to see more essential oil videos, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Earlier in this video, I talked about my healthy hair serum, and you can buy it online at the link down below. But my next video next week, I'm going to be showing you how to actually apply a hair serum, because I have a lot of questions on that, and there's actually 2 different ways that you can use my healthy hair serum. So make sure you stay tuned and subscribe to know when that video is coming out. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!